2, 1.
Good evening. Time is 6:30 p.m. I'm Chairman Timothy Toth. I call the Select Board Business Meeting to order on this 29th day of May 2025. If able, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to remind everybody today's meeting is being broadcast on TCTV Cable Channel 8 and our YouTube web platform. For those who wish to revisit any part of the proceedings, the recording will also be available on the YouTube channel. We hope you subscribe to all of their videos. The chat area in the YouTube stream is considered the same as if comments are requested in person. They're allowed by the chair and must be by name and address. If any audience members are recording the meeting or plan to do so, please notify us prior to starting. Further, we'd ask our partners at TCTV, please inform the chair if any issues with the live feed occurs so we can pause while they're remediated. Roll call and welcoming. We're going to start with the board. I'd like to welcome aboard our new members, newly elected. In no particular order, Candace Graves, Lisa Basso, Robert May. Welcome. We have some guests in the audience, former board member Michael Curry, former board member Matthew Rivard, our local representative, John Zlotnik. Thank you, Representative. We have our Public Service Director, Robert Zosik, with us, and we have Tom Barry from Municipal Light. Our interim town administrator is here, and of course, our wonderful TCTV support staff. We appreciate everybody working with us. The agenda tonight, along with other public documents, is available on www.templetonma.gov, the official website for town information. Here you can also subscribe to alerts for public meetings and our town's administrators' weekly reports. For immediate updates, including emergency notifications, please enroll in the Code Red Alert system through our website or by calling 866-939-0911. This service is vital for staying informed on important and emergency matters. As the chair, I maintain the discretion to modify tonight's agenda as needed to manage time effectively, utilize personnel resources efficiently, and ensure public awareness. I reserve the right to arrange agenda items to best accommodate our proceedings and to honor our guests. We will be doing that in just a few moments. If it's your first time attending, welcome. The Rivard family, welcome as well. We're committed to serving our community with patience and fairness and efficiency. We ask the same courtesy and engagement from all participants tonight. Let's have a productive and respectful meeting, and I do not believe we have anybody participating remotely by Zoom. Is that correct?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe we do. So that said, I would like to bring Mr. Zlotnik up first and rearrange the schedule just a bit, being mindful of the representative's time and also two of our guests.
Yes. Well, I'm happy to join you tonight to say best wishes and also welcome. At your invitation, I think it's a good idea to recognize the service of the departing members of the board. As you know, or as you'll find out, I value very highly partnerships with my local officials throughout my district. To the three new members, just like you both know, I have an open door policy and an open cell phone and texting policy. So if there's ever an issue you want to discuss with me, feel free. That door is always open. So it's my pleasure to bring some congratulations and appreciation from the House of Representatives. Matt and Mike want to come up. As I think most of us know, and maybe some of you will find out, elected office isn't all it's cracked up to be, and many times is quite thankless. So I appreciate the opportunity and the suggestion of the chair to offer some appreciation from the House of Representatives. First to Michael Curry, but these are both the same. Citations from the House of Representatives Again, recognizing you for your years of service to the town of Templeton and really how much that's appreciated. I know the salary more than makes up for the time that members of the select board put in, but I want you to have this as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, John.
Thank you. And then, same thing.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Are we expecting Terry?
She never got back
Oh,
to me,
okay.
but the invitation went out to all
Okay.
three.
I will get Terry.
Thank you for that, Tim. I really appreciate
Former board member Griffiths was invited, did not respond back to the invitation. Senator Durant was also invited. He is multiple booked in events this evening. He sends his congratulatory remarks as well. There will be a citation coming from the state senate as well on his behalf. So thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate the service to the town.
Absolutely. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the rest of the board, and good luck to all of you in your new and continued positions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we did that just to honor Mr. Zlotnik's position and to also understand he's a very busy man as well. I would like to resume our normal course of action, and our first order of business is reorganizing the board and the organization actions for the select board. So tonight we will pick a chair, a vice chair, a clerk, and liaisons to committees. So I would entertain nominations from any of the board members.
Mr. Chair, I would nominate Jeff Bennett as chair.
Nomination for Mr. Bennett.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
I appreciate the confidence and I will accept that nomination.
Thank you for that, Mr. Bennett. Any other nominations for the position of chair? Second call, any other nominations for the position of chair? Hearing none, we will bring that to a vote. How would you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Jeff, how would you vote?
I'll vote yes.
Unanimous. Jeff, congratulations, you're the chair. Would you like me to pass the gavel or continue the proceeding?
Can I go home now?
Not getting off that easy, sir.
Alrighty.
I'll take that. You don't want to pass the gavel.
All right, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Someone has to do it. Now for the next item is a vice chair, and keep in mind that one of your responsibilities would be to run the meeting in case the chair is unable to attend for any reason. So
I'm interested.
On
in
that note,
job.
I would entertain a motion for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Candace Graves for that position.
I'll second. And I would like to nominate Tim. Okay, so we have a motion for Tim.
Who seconded the first part?
I did.
You did, okay.
Any others? Is there a second?
For what, me?
So we have a second on you.
Oh, okay. I just got confused.
Okay, so we have Tim, Ms. Graves. Is that it? Just the two?
Was there a second on Tim's nomination? That was too fast for me.
Okay. So there was no second for I will second Mr. May's motion for Tim to be the vice chair. Any further discussion?
Well, I have never missed a meeting in any of the boards that I've served in as the town. Only did one Zoom once, but everything has been in person. So I feel like that I'm up to the job as vice chair. That I could fill in. I've run meetings. So I think I'm comfortable with it. And I understand that we're supposed to keep track of you have an extra piece to it. We're supposed to keep track of the items on the list.
So, was there a second for Ms. Graves?
I did.
From,
From Bob.
from Lisa?
From Bob.
I did, Jeff.
You seconded?
Yeah. I seconded Candace.
I would be willing to accept the position. I've served as the vice, I've served as the chair. I understand what the job entails. And we went through the trials and tribulations of going into the state of emergency and running things remote through Zoom, and we're hoping never to have to do that again. But we have the system. TCTV, thank you for that, because you guys were a godsend.
Okay. Motion from Tim, from Bob, second myself. A motion from Ms. Graves. A second on that, was there? No,
From me.
It was Bob.
okay. So we have two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, vice chair. Second by Bob, so
Well, I guess we call the roll. We vote.
all right, on the first motion for Ms. Graves for vice chair, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? So on that motion, Mr. May, how do you vote?
No.
Ms. Basso,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes,
Mr. Toth,
Yes.
and I will vote yes.
Congratulations.
thank you.
So Ms. Graves is the chair, vice chair. The next position is for position of clerk. You'll sign off on the minutes. And there are some other documents that you will have to sign. So I would entertain a motion for the clerk of the board.
Chair, I would nominate Lisa Basso as clerk.
Second.
Second by Mr. May.
Is this something that you're interested in doing?
I'd like to nominate Tim Toth.
You accept that?
I'd like to nominate Tim Toth for the.
That-
I'd like to nominate Tim Toth for the position.
His question to you was, would you accept the nomination?
No.
Here you go.
She says no.
She doesn't want it.
Nope.
Correct.
All right. She declines. Are there any other motions for clerk?
Lisa made a motion for Tim.
I'd like to nominate Tim Toth for the clerk position.
Any motion for clerk?
I'll second it. I'll second Tim if he wants it.
Yeah, I will accept. I understand the role of the position.
Okay. The second motion by Mr. May. For Mr. Toth, clerk. Second. Ms. Graves. And Tim, you will to accept it?
I will accept. Yes.
All right. On the motion and second for Tim Toth as clerk, Mr. May? how do you
Yes.
vote? Ms. Basso,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes,
Mr. Toth,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The next thing on the agenda is per bylaw and by policy of the board. We serve on and act as liaison for several entities. Per bylaw is the Capital Improvement Committee, one member.
I'm interested in that.
I am also.
And then there's also the educational liaison to Narragansett and Monty Tech. There is a liaison for Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, the Montechusett Metropolitan Planning Organization, and there's the MJTC. They meet separate, but they're part of, they all run through MRPC. They're generally, MRPC is generally at about 7 p.m. Generally on a Thursday. Sometime they've been on the same night as a select board meeting. The other two are generally middle of the day, noon to whenever, sometime 1, but it's, so if you can do that, I've done it. I've been the board's rep for several years. Tim has done it. You keep up with projects that are on like the state tip list and anything that the MRPC can do for the town. They can do grants, they do projects, they do planning for us, all those type of things. And you attend the meeting and then generally brief the board. I try to forward all the emails that I get from them, that I've gotten from them, just to keep everybody up on aware of what's going on. Saves time at a meeting from just repeating it. It's just easy to give the email. So the Capital Planning Improvement Committee meets starting like in September, and then by January, it's pretty much done. The school liaison is go to school committee meetings, keep the board up abreast of things. I know in the past, some the liaisons have actually gone to the Monty Tech School Committee meeting, so just things to think about when, if you want to serve on these.
Excuse me, is this last one, this not a thing anymore?
The Templeton development, we've appointed people, but they have not, I couldn't tell you the last time they've met.
Okay,
It's probably something that should be looked at to see if we can disband it or not. We've put people on it, but again, I try to find minutes the last time that they've met. It's kind of fell off the radar. We could, the board, if they wanted to, I suppose we could table that one and
Okay.
I'll talk to the planning office, Lori Reader, and see if it's worth keeping. It may be a committee that we just dissolve. I have to go back, actually, I have to check, because I can't recall if that was actually created by a town meeting vote, but the board could vote to pass on that, and I can brief the board at the next meeting. So, anybody want to volunteer for a capital improvements committee?
You have to. Bob and
yeah,
Candace
two
both.
of us that
Word.
we're just gonna,
Uh,
yeah, sorry. That's the only one that I thought I understand the best.
You could do an alternate. Times people can't make the meeting.
okay. You all want to go, or
If Candace wants it, I'll let her have it, but I like capital planning.
are you fine with,
Yes, I spent a long time at their meeting. For projects. I couldn't-
yes. Yeah, because generally we've pretty much like volunteered for
Yeah.
for these things.
That is one, just by the bylaw, it disbands at the end of the annual town meeting.
Yep.
So at some point, they'll be reappointing members to it. Generally,
And
that
yeah,
happens later in the summer as we
I-
get ready to ramp up August, September.
yeah, I
timeframe.
think all the members have to be appointed by September, date of September. It was amended at town meeting vote. So. So a consensus of the board, Ms. Graves on capital.
Sure.
Liaison for Narragansett and Monty Tech. Matt Rivard, what had been up until he resigned, and then I volunteered to do it. And I've also been doing the MRPC, Massachusetts Metropolitan Planning, and the MJTC, but
I've done the liaisons, I've done the Massachusetts positions, and I'm comfortable with any.
school liaison. Going, Mr. Toth,
I'll take it.
all right.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome. And those who remember, John Columbus is currently the chair of the Monty Tech, former select board member here in town, going back about 8-9 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
We bumped into him at the MVT opening.
No,
The grand opening.
yes. All right, MRPC. MPO, MJTC. Anyone interested in doing that?
Be interested in that.
I mean, I'll continue to do it. I don't mind doing it. If everybody's
You want to
fine
do
with
it?
that.
If he's comfortable staying there, that's fine with me, but
You want to jump into that or?
it'd be a lot.
Good bunch of people.
That's, if you want to stay doing it, you want to continue doing it.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll just keep doing it. No problem. I got no problem doing it. It's- The Templeton development, we'll table that and find out the details on that. And the rec was kind of in limbo. That was never. So. We're all set with organization. The next thing would be our meeting schedule for fiscal 26, which starts July 1. For the fiscal 25 meeting schedule, we have meetings in June for June 11th and June 25th.
I see we don't have a lot in July. And I just personally want, I don't want agendas like that are a mile long. If we can break some of it up. I heard about that the board used to have some kind of workshops and then they would do some hearings on those dates possibly. I didn't know if we can add an extra day a month just to get established. Or wait until the fall to do it or something. But any of the meetings that I attended have gone very, very late. And then they go into executives or some very important information. And I just feel like having that so late at night seems could be not very, productive. I would like to see us be able to add something. Plus, you have three new members. So, having an extra meeting, at least at some point, would be nice. And I observed that the town meeting was the 22nd, which last time we had an early meeting, it was a scramble and lots of things didn't make it into it. So, and then that's also the clerk and the moderator usually set those meetings, so I don't know if that was set by them or not.
That was discussed with the town clerk, just kind of as a
But it wasn't,
placeholder.
it was a placeholder. Okay.
Yeah,
But the 22nd seems really early in last year, was it last year that we
Last
did the
year we
early
had
one?
it.
We scrambled, we had a lot of issues. I just felt like the 29th, Halloween is now like further in the week, so it's not like, whereas last year Halloween was like right there on that Wednesday with the 29th, I think is more, gives you an extra, gives everybody an extra week. It seems the 22nd seems really early to get all the paperwork and everything together. And then obviously we have to be mindful of, like the assessor setting their rate and stuff too, to make sure we don't go too early and too late.
Good points. By our policy, we meet the second and fourth Wednesday. I would agree in July. We probably need to look at the 23rd and get that back onto this schedule. Looking a little further ahead, we do have the annual retreat programmed on August 27th. That's the workshop that's been renamed. September 24th, approving an FTM warrant, but there's no indication when we're opening it. I know we have to have it open for 14 days and we have to close it and then have it posted publicly for 14 days. So there's a month lead time in there. And then the only other question I saw on this, looking into November, November 26th, that's the day before Thanksgiving. And by our policy, we do not meet the day before a holiday. So that date needs to be revisited.
Well, that'd be good, so
Yep.
I have a prior engagement the first, that Wednesday.
And we have, as a note in the past, we have for November for 2 meetings. We have met on the first and third Wednesdays. So we get 2 meetings in because we have to do a tax classification hearing some point in time, and that's driven by the Board of Assessors. I also had a concern about the fall town meeting warrant, about we have a 28-day window. The meeting of night before Thanksgiving. And my concern with July just having 1 meeting. If we're having the finance meeting the first week, the first meeting, I'd rather see us get all the fourth quarter stuff out of the way in July. And in August, we've generally gotten the end of the year stuff. With an accounting service now, I don't know if we'll be ahead or if we will follow tradition, when we've generally gotten it in the first August meeting, but I believe that we have a lot to do. We have a lot of things that we need to take care of. So I would like to see, I would be in favor of having 2 meetings in July. And 3 out of the last 5 years, our fall town meeting has been in November.
Mhm.
It would give us more time if we had a special town meeting on November 12th.
I think 12th might be too late.
And if we opened the fall town meeting on the 24th, because we have to remember, if it's open for 14 days, by our policy, we're supposed to have our agenda stuff into the office by noontime on the Wednesday preceding the meeting and receive it electronically no later than 4:30 on Thursday. The warrant still being open, I just, the 24th just struck me as September 24th closing, and October 22nd struck me as being just a little too tight.
Hmm.
Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make a note that all the things that are in parentheses are sort of our notes to put them on those meetings, and those can be moved around. They're kind of our notes, so we can add and remove from that too.
Any other members have any concerns with the time frame?
Those were the ones that immediately jumped out at me.
Yeah, me too.
Say I'd echo the sentiment of the board members so far with the idea of having more meetings rather than long meetings. And I would concur with a second meeting in July.
Mhm.
and changing the November 26th meeting and would not be opposed by any stretch to changing the fall town meeting to the beginning of November.
Well, the first Wednesday of November is the 4th. And the second is the 11th, which is Veterans, is that Veterans Day?
The fifth is,
Oh.
It's the 11th.
Oh, the 5th isn't. What, do I have a wrong calendar?
could do the fifth and the 19th and then town meeting on the
Oh, I'm
12th.
looking at the wrong calendar. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just a recommendation anyway, because according to the rules, the clerk and the moderator set the town meeting. They're the ones that have to say, yeah,
Town clerk, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just a recommendation, but I think that 12th is a little late.
Historically, those were done because of setting the tax rate and a
Yeah.
couple of other things, because we have to rely on the assessors, much like the state of House One
You know,
and everything that's coming down the pipe with that.
I just think like the 29th of October or the 5th would be better for the assessors.
Mr. Chair, I do kind of like what Holly stated just a few moments ago with having a meeting on, I believe it was the 5th, and then on the 19th with the town meeting, fall town meeting on the 12th. Because having that second meeting in November on the 19th will allow us to move up by December and have 2 meetings in December too, if we needed to.
So, that's what I had marked in my calendar as having 2 meetings in November would be the 5th and the 19th, and the meeting on the 12th.
Yeah, and then they have the next meeting is scheduled for December 10th, which we could move that up to the previous Wednesday, the 3rd, and then get one in on the 17th if we needed to also. Rather than going a month without a meeting. The 5th and the 19th. And fall town meeting, November 12th. We have to ensure that the 12th would be good for the town clerk and the moderator, and the school's auditorium is available. That's an important one, because we had to move a meeting one time because they were.
Yeah.
So we would add a July 23rd meeting.
Mhm.
Change the November meetings from the 12th to the 5th and the 19th, and have the fall town meeting on the 12th. When would we open the warrant and close it? Instead of approving it on the 24th of September, if we open it, that gives us a lot of time. Especially to approve it.
Hmm.
And get it posted but in between approving it, the draft and closing it and coming before the board. And then going to post it if something this gives everybody more time to look at it. We could possibly get it to the advisory committee for their pre-town meeting in a little more timely fashion. And it would just be time-wise, it would give us, everybody more room. Because sometimes you try to do things too tight and if you miss something, you goof, because we have a 28-day window by bylaw and state law.
Looking at the dates, if we opened it on the 24th, closed it on the 8th, there's the 14 days, 14 more takes it to the 22nd for the public posting. Now, could advisory work with it in that time frame? Absolutely, but are we gonna meet the intent of and spirit of the law with the 14 days? It may be beneficial, open it on the 10th, close it the 24th, then have everything finalized by the 8th. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Could even open it on August 27th. There's nothing wrong with opening it early. Gives everyone more time.
Do we do it once in August?
Maybe.
We did.
Earlier is better. Give people
Yeah.
more time to get their
Open the
citizens
10th and close
petitions
it the
in.
24th. I mean, open it the 11th. Because there was also the issue last year we ran into, we wanted to do a second special and we didn't get it posted by close of business.
Yep.
And the town clerk told us we didn't meet, I think it's a state deadline, so we had to tank that. So we just, the day we open it and the day we're gonna close it. And then when we approve it to get it, we want to make sure that that's why I was looking at stretching it out because of things like that. If we get time tight, you miss something and then it becomes a real mess.
And to that point, you know, what the ITA just suggested, even if we opened it on August 27th, would give us some time to close it on the 10th, and then there's some wiggle room time to work on it.
You want it open for a good 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Even if you close it on September 24th or October 8th, you still have plenty of time.
Yeah.
We could shoot for September 24th and then have that extra week or extra meeting.
If we back it to the 27th,
I like the 27th and then close it on the 24th. Yep. That sounds good. Give people a chance, especially. We had an extra meeting because he.
so open, all set with August 27th, open and close September 10th. And then give everybody time to look at it. Approve it and transmit it and post it, so everybody has.
So you want to close it on the 10th, you said, versus the 24th?
We would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
I just feel like the 24th.
12, 13, 14.
Yeah, you need longer for it to be
Yeah,
open.
I just feel like it has to be longer, especially we didn't have it long enough. Well, we had some issues and then we had the extra meeting. We want to avoid having the extra meeting. The
Close
cost.
it on October 8th, and then you still have over a month, which is more than enough time for posting. 14 days.
After the 24th, you mean?
Yeah, close it on October 8th, open it on August 27th, close it on October 8th, and give people about 6 weeks. So they're giving the residents plenty of time to get everything in. And then it can get posted in plenty of time too.
You open it this 27th, we have one. I say two. 14 would be the 10th.
We need to talk to the town clerk and moderator and have them decide when they're gonna have it before we can really put those concrete dates in.
Yeah,
It's a good discussion, though.
Yeah,
yeah, just so
Yeah.
you.
I'm not sure it needs to run a 6-week window, but two weeks is what the law calls for.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I might, if we're going to be moving the meetings around there, that opens up October 22nd for an additional business meeting.
Yes,
For the board. So I'd like to propose that that becomes a business meeting.
okay.
right, so we can have October meetings on the 8th and the 22nd,
Yeah,
and
November on the 5th and the 19th.
in November, we would be the 5th and the 19th.
And that would allow us to change December to the 3rd and the 17th.
So. Second. So we'll add a July 23rd meeting, add an October 22nd meeting. Change the Novembers to November 5th and the 19th. Open the fall meeting on the 27th of August.
Oh, that's actually the annual retreat, I just noticed.
what is,
You can still open the warrant.
Yeah, that's true.
If we want to, it's up to.
Yeah.
Up to the board, I mean. It can be open longer, it just gotta be open for that 14 days.
Mhm.
And close it. The 10th or the 20, I'll go farther, or in between meetings.
what, for the, to close it, and what,
43.
is it the 8th or the 24th of September?
Oh, we're talking about the
Open at the 27th.
Yeah,
2 weeks would take it to September 10th. 2 more weeks would take it to September 24th. So that I would
that's-
close on the 10th. There's 2 weeks to have it posted to meet the intent of the law and have it publicly posted. And then there's plenty of time between then and a November meeting for advisory to have a pre-town and any other things that have to happen.
Okay, so we'll close on the 10th. And approve the 24th. Okay, so open. Now, August 27th is showing our retreat at Scout Hall. I know it's been at, usually the retreat has been at the senior center, it's been at the Templeton Center Fire Station, it was at Scout Hall. My thing about Scout Hall was last year,
Just one.
during the meeting. Excuse me, the police came in and had 2 or 3 people move their cars because they were parked in parking spaces for the apartment building next door to it. The parking there is really, really limited. If we're gonna open the warrant, I don't know why we couldn't just have it right here. It's a public meeting, gets posted a public meeting. It varies, the ones that have been at that. Sometimes there's people that come and other times it's just the board. But I mean, if we're gonna open the fall town meeting and like I said, that was the thing about meeting at Scout Hall is the parking. Cause people that came, there was the board and the TA and TCTV people, and then people showed up and they just park in a spot and then somebody comes home and the police came in and said, who owns this, this and this? And okay, so they had to go out and move. And it's kind of a hassle I just like to avoid.
Well, we have other buildings too. We have the senior center. That's where we have the, our board meeting. If you wanted to have a different venue,
I mean, it's,
it doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't me either.
Just-
it's it's really a selectman meeting and TCTV could come, record it as it should be, and we're gonna open the warrant, so I would just, I'd just soon have it here. But that's just me, but just be cognizant, if we're gonna open the warrant on the 27th, that is our retreat, and I just questioned Scout Hall.
I concur with having a meeting here for no other reason that the chair's more comfortable.
It's,
A shorter commute for me.
cause to me, I just, and this is just me, but, having it at the fire station, having it over here, it's like, what are we playing hide and go seek with the residents? I mean, it's a posted meeting, it gets posted, it's open,
Yep.
people wanna come, so, I mean,
If there's space for 'em.
stay one, it's me, whatever the board's consensus of the board is. Have it at Scout Hall, have it here,
It's fine. Is it a treat? Do we get pizza?
So,
I don't,
I would say here.
conference room,
yeah, that's fine.
all right. 7th,
Is 5 o'clock gonna work?
and any other concerns with the schedule? I
The only thing I said here was mentioning about the 3rd and 17th of December. Since we have the change in November. It allows us to have 2 meetings in December, which right now. we're only
and we
scheduled
have
for
had 2 meetings in December before, because we have to do all the licenses and everything.
one. And if we don't need it, we don't need it, but it'd be nice to have it available.
The 10th and like, if we need to, the 17th,
I think it's the 3rd and the 17th.
or do the 3 and the 17th.
That gets us 14 days away from the. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. It gets us 14 days away from the 19th. So, be every 2 weeks.
So we would add a July 23rd meeting, an October 22nd meeting, change the November dates to November 5th and the 19th. And have the fall town meeting on November 12th.
That'd be pending the approval of the town clerk and.
Right,
town
right.
moderator.
Pending that.
The December 17th.
And if we find out down the road that we may need a second December meeting, we could amend this.
I would keep the 17th on the calendar. Historically, that's when we've done the all boards. Kind of the end of the year wrap up.
Oh, yep.
And we could even do the capital report that night.
Yes.
Because they do have to have that in prior to the beginning of the year. That's in the bylaw.
Right, by the bylaw. So, yeah, we have done that in a December meeting.
Mhm.
And all boards has been in December or January,
Yep.
either or. So are we all set on the schedule with those changes? With those amendments?
December 17th, if we need it, or let's schedule it. We can always cancel it, but I just want to know if I should put it on the calendar now.
So we will add a July 23rd meeting. Everybody agree?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Add the October 22nd meeting.
Agreed.
Change the November dates to the 5th and the 19th with the fall town on the 12th.
Agreed.
Open the fall town meeting on August 27th.
Yep.
Close it on the 10th or later.
I think at least the 24th.
Yeah,
And you're giving almost 4 weeks for people to work.
it's just that you're coming out of summer and then you're coming into Labor Day weekend and then, so if you have any residents that are. Want to put something, about signatures or stuff.
Historically, we have had our free cash certified in time, August or September. So.
To answer the ITA's question, December 17th, I would put it in if nothing more than a placeholder, because our policy does state second and fourth Wednesdays, but we're looking to rearrange due to the holidays, so we don't get bumped up against the day before a major holiday. Because if we don't move that, that would be the 10th and the 24th, the same problem we're having in November.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So,
we'll do what we have to do, but I don't particularly want to sit here on Christmas Eve.
hey, jingle bells, Merry Christmas and all that good stuff. Who's bringing the punch? Bob? Okay, so a placeholder for the 27th, I mean, the
The
17th,
17th.
17th. Okay,
Are we keeping December 10th? So it'll be the 10th and the 17th?
The 3rd.
It'll be the
Third.
3rd and the 17th, okay.
That gives us 2 weeks between the November and the
Yeah.
first December date to keep us kind of on our normal schedule.
Got it.
everybody good with all the amendments?
I think
Okay.
so.
I would entertain a motion to accept the meeting schedule with the noted amendments.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Mr. Toth, seconded by Mr. May. Any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, Mr. May,
Yes.
Ms. Basso, Ms. Graves,
Yes,
Mr. Toth,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Yes, at 19:28. The next, will be approval of meeting minutes.
I move to approve the meeting minutes of the 12/18/24, 3/19/25, 4/23/25, 4/30/25, and 5/14/25 with the amendment on the word Friday that's misspelled.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Graves, seconded by Mr. May. Any discussion? Anything on the minutes? Hearing none.
I would consider taking these separately. And I do have two concerns on the 12/18/24 and the 3/19/24 for the OML guidance. We have 3 meetings or 30 days, whichever is longer, to approve minutes. So whatever action we take tonight, we're potentially setting ourselves up for an OML violation, which I'm not particularly fond of. So those dates are haunting me at the moment.
So you're recommending that we don't approve minutes that are possibly over,
Well, we're already in violation, so
they have to be approved.
they do.
I can't see them, it's not done.
But I'm just saying I would recommend we take them individually, not as a lump sum.
Ms. Graves, would you amend your motion?
Sure.
May?
Second, yep.
Okay. Motion amended, and a second agreed to vote the minutes separately. So on the minutes, December 18th, 2024.
That one because it's late.
Yes.
So what is it we're supposed to do with them if we don't vote for them?
Well, we can vote for them. I'm just saying, take them individually.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve 12/18/24.
Second.
All right, motion for 12/18/24. Ms. Graves, second, Mr. May. Any discussion? Hearing none. How do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes,
Mr. Toth?
No.
And I vote yes.
I make a motion on 3/19/2025 minutes.
Second.
3/19. 24 minutes. Motion, Ms. Graves, second, Mr. May. Any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes,
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 1934.
make a motion on 4/23/2025 minutes. Approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Graves, for the minutes of April 23rd, 2025. Second, Mr. May. Any discussion? Hearing none. How do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yeah,
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 35.
make a motion on 4/30/2025 to approve the minutes.
Second.
On the minutes, April 30th, 2025, motion by Ms. Graves, second by Mr. May. Any discussion? Hearing none. How do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
I say yes,
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 1936.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of 5/14/2025 with the amendment on the word Fridays. To have it spelled correctly. Um,
Second.
On the motion, minutes for 5/14/25 with correction by Ms. Graves, second by Mr. May. Any other concerns?
That's the first
it's right underneath,
sentence in
right here, it's underneath. Valley View Farm. I move to approve, and then it says Fridays, FRIRDAYS.
I got you.
Yeah.
I read right over it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anything else?
I was only gonna jump out at me.
Hearing nothing else? On the motion, how do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
I say yes,
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 1937. The minutes are done. There are no executive session minutes on the agenda this evening. Now time for citizen input. I know you're all set. No citizen input. The interim town administrator comments, any?
Yes, I just wanted to welcome the new board members. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
All right, under new business. Item A. A new employee, Michelle Vestgard, administrative assistant at DPS, the highway barn.
Good evening, board. Congratulations, new members. Bob Souza, Public Service. As some of you know, since last October, my secretary had went on medical leave. Turned into long term. Michelle Vestgard came in and filled that position as temporary. While Mary Beth was out. And just recently, Mary Beth resigned from the position due to medical reasons. I'd like to wish her the best. So that puts Michelle Vestgard in the full-time position of administrative assistant. She was right here in Ballinville. She's been working out great. Fast learner, doing a good job so far.
Works with you, she's gotta be doing okay.
Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you for stepping up.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Welcome to
Do
the team.
you want to say anything?
Michelle Vestgard, well, I'm glad to be here. I've been in Templeton for a little over a year now. My kids go to the schools here, we love it. I came from New Ipswich, New Hampshire, where I was running a library for 4.5 years. So I feel like the skills, while not exactly the same, do translate pretty nicely to helping Bob run the highway barn. And enjoying my position so far. So I'm glad to be here and
And I've worked with you and I think you're doing a great job.
oh, well, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Our next item is a public hearing for Templeton Light and Verizon on adding a utility pole. We have the letter from Tom Berry from Templeton Light describing what he wants to do. Notice to abutters. Doesn't look like there are any here, and there is a diagram. This doesn't happen every meeting, but it's not an uncommon thing. I can't count how many times Tom has been I've been on the board and Tom has been here. It's usually pretty cut and dry. He's on top of his stuff. So Tom, if you would come on up. So before Mr. Berry speaks, this is a public meeting, which means we go into a public meeting. The presenter will give their take. If there are any butters here, what a public hearing does is it takes away the discretion of the chair to decide who speaks or not. Anyone who is here who wanted to speak would get a chance to speak either in favor or against the poll move. So I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing to add a utility pole, Templeton Municipal Light and Verizon.
Mr. Chair. I move that we temporarily suspend the business meeting for the purposes of entering a public hearing for the poll hearing.
Is there a second?
A second.
The motion to go into a public hearing made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? How would you vote? Mr. May,
Yes.
Ms. Basso,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Mr. Toth,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Before you stop, Tom, how this goes, in case you're not aware of, the board does not debate on the issue. The presenter makes their case. If there's anyone here to speak, in favor of it, and butters, they get to speak. If they're against it, they get to speak. If we have questions about, why are you moving the poll or adding the poll, you ask, but we don't debate until the hearing is closed. Just so, because it's a mix-up once in a while. I know I've been there. So,
Understood.
Tom,
Yeah.
you present your,
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, again, congratulations to the new board members.
Thank you.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Tom Berry. I'm the superintendent of the light department. So we're just looking to put a pole on Ash Street between pole 4 and pole 5 for the purpose of dividing up a really long span. We're going to be installing some covered primary wire to replace the bare copper there. It's a little bit more storm resistant. Not sure why it's such a long span. I'm only guessing there was a pole there before that never got put back. I'm not really sure, but pretty standard, just right mid-span in line with the other two poles. It's in between house number 19 and number 35. Be just off the side of the road in line with the other two poles. It's pretty much.
Yeah.
anyone have any questions for Tom?
Hmm.
He's usually
Pretty good.
pretty thorough and the explanations are always here, so. There's no butters here, there are no questions. I would entertain a motion to come out of the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to come out by Mr. May. Second by Mr. Toth. Any discussion? On the vote to come out of the public hearing. On the motion, how do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes,
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes, and we are out of the public hearing at 7:44. I would now entertain a motion to allow the addition of the utility pole further as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. May. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Toth. Did the board have any questions? Tom, any concerns?
no,
Just a quick comment, once again, Templeton Power and Light doing what it takes, to upgrade our infrastructure, and
Yeah, he's,
we had a couple speed bumps over the last couple of weeks, but
I
that
know.
happens, and I look at the surrounding towns every time they go through something similar, it's not a matter of minutes, it's
Yeah.
hours, sometimes days.
yeah,
So kudos to TPNL, you guys keep the lights on, no joke intended.
there. Post office didn't get the check in on time.
Nice
So-
clean presentation.
On the motion
She's done a
to,
few of these.
Yeah. on the motion to approve the addition of the light pole, how do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it.
Very much, everybody.
Nice
Good
work.
evening.
Have a good night, Tom.
The next item is Chapter 90 plan approval. This was not in our packet. It was emailed Tuesday. I will say that according to the board operating procedures, all material shall have a request into the board's office by noon on the Wednesday preceding the next regular business meeting. That would have been last Wednesday. If formal action is required by the board, the request shall be accompanied by fully vetted background material. If the material is deemed insufficient, the administrator may defer the placement of the item upon the agenda. Did you all have a copy of the plan?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Sozik?
Good evening again, Bob Sozak, Department of Public Services. Welcome and congratulations to our new board members.
Thank you, Bob.
Chapter 90 plan like I do every year. I'll go through the plan, and if you would frame any questions or comments till I explain everything at the end, that would be great. You look at the top of the plan and it says balance unspent. That's chapter 90 money. That's money left over from last year that I didn't use, which I put aside 10, and I'm gonna use it this year for some bigger things. As I get into it, you'll see. The chapter 90 FY 26, you see the sum of 610,738. That's not guaranteed until July, so that's pending. All goes well, that'll give us a total of $880,426,000 for FY 26. Then you see fair share. Fair share is other monies the state gives out to the towns. according to population and road miles. This is the second year they had fair share. 3 years ago, they called it a wrap fund. So the fair share, we had a little over 16,000 left over from last year. And with the deposit this year brings us to 97,353. So the combined total is $977,779. The first frame you come to is routine maintenance, localized repairs, crack sealing. I do have several roads I'm gonna determine in priority which ones I'm gonna do. And I set aside 35,000 for that, and that would be chapter 90 money. The next frame, drainage improvements, Whitney Road culvert. That will be fair share money of $10,000. That's gonna be used soon to put the new culvert pipes in and use them, the assistance from a private contractor. Then we skip through equipment and routine road maintenance. Skip safety, alignment, guardrails. Then we get down to the bottom, shim and level. I have Royalston Road on that to be done. The residents out there have been in disarray for many years, and they actually deserve this. The shim and level that, it would be $126,400. And if you go to the second page, a mill and overlay. South Main Street over here, basically from where MassDOT left off, up to the bridge. That's chapter 90 money. And that includes the sidewalk from where they left off up to the past the town hall road here. And that's $113,338 of chapter 90 money. And South Road, chapter 90 money again. This is to finish what they should have done when they did the school from Wellington Road down to the police station. That will be a mill in overlay, the $36,338. Reclamation, Cottage Lane. Basically from the park up to the turnaround. Chapter 90 money is $63,050. Beach Street, chapter 90 money again. That's $80,000. Been trying to get over in that area to show that we're gonna start doing something, and this will be a good start. Then we drop down to engineering. Boylston Road, I don't know if you newcomers are aware, but we have to come up with $480,000 to finish design engineering of a culvert bridge. And I have $69,000 still in that chapter 90 plan from when it first started. So using that $69,000 and me putting in $411,000, we'll able to finish that design Royalston Road. That doesn't cover the easements or titles.
Yeah, there's some money,
I think
think
Adam had money aside. for
there's some
1,000.
special articles, I think,
Yeah.
I'll have to look, but,
Yeah.
that would just, in case people aren't aware, that this like the project's been on the books for
15 plus.
20 years. It's the
Mhm.
longest project we have sitting here, that in the process. And this funding this last part of the design, the 25%, is depending on whether it stays on the tip list for the state to do it or not. That's. I've been at the meetings and that's what I was told. I've gone back and forth with the MassDOT and they want to see the commitment of funds, so this should be able to keep us on the tip list. It's gonna get kicked back another year, but I feel sorry for the residents, but if it comes off the tip list, I don't know when we would ever find the money to be able to do it. We'd have all the engineering done, but, so that's a big deal right there to cover that, pretty much the cost of.
So, for your new, members, basically, in the long run, Templeton's putting in just about $1 million to get a $10 million project. The TIPS program is a state and federal project funded by both. Then, under engineering, you got Lord North Maiden Honor River, that's fair share, $40,000. So that 40,000, I finally got through and made contact with the original engineer for that drainage that was approved 20 years ago, almost to the date, and had an NOI approved. So bring that engineered plan back up to date, it's gonna cost $40,000. Again, like Boylston Road. Do we want to spend the $40,000 and have it sit and expire again? Because this project is gonna be between 1.3 and 1.5 million dollars if it goes out to bid.
And that is about the second oldest project on the books.
Yeah. I think Royalston Road is the longest tip
It's-
project in the history of the state.
Well,
Seriously,
Oh, man.
no,
seriously, talking to people at MassDOT,
it's been on the tip list.
It
like
goes
I
up,
said,
it comes down, they
20
move it
years.
forward, they kick it back, yeah.
Going on 7 years and it was all.
We
done
tried to
before.
get it moved up in front of the roundabout, but
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah.
They wouldn't hear it, but that would keep it on the tip list.
So as you can see, I think I did my due diligence to kind of keep stuff active and help out and bounce around and take care of some of these smaller problems. And that's gonna leave me with a balance of fair share of $27,353 and chapter 90 balance of $15,300. I always like to keep some in there because if we have an emergency or some of these jobs escalate in price due to oil increases or details, I have money to play with. And if I don't use it, then we put it towards next year's chapter 90 plan. Any questions or comments?
Through the chair.
Yes.
Bob, looking at Whitney Road, I see you have it listed, fair share 10,000. Memory serves me correctly, this was an approved item 2 fiscal years ago at a town meeting. Is this above and beyond the dollar amount that was approved, or are we?
No, this was, the reason I used the fair share money is I can use it easily than chapter 90 money is it's not as much paperwork involved to. If I use private contractors versus chapter 90, you have to go through the approved list and, of contracts. Where Templeton DPW is running it and doing most of the job with the assistance of, there's no problem. Chris from MassDOT came out to the office about a month ago and we went over this and he's in full agreement of what I'm proposing to you.
I understand that part. The question I'm asking, we're looking at 10,000 here, but the town meeting approved expenditure of funds for that culvert.
Emergency, yeah, for the
An
pipe.
emergency expenditure, and unless I'm mistaken, we have not yet expended those funds. So is this
We
above and
used, I
beyond?
think it was, I would have to look, Tim, we did use some for engineering and
Okay.
the NOI. I believe there was maybe 2 or 3 grand left, which was gonna be used for pavement
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes, and the culvert pipe is already
on
bought and
site.
Yep.
sitting over there on site.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I was just curious. I don't happen to have it in front of me and I don't know if Holly has one available. But we're talking about chapter 90 here and I noticed we're talking about positive balances and so forth on the account. But if I'm not mistaken, looking at the BVA, that is a different story.
Don't go by the BVA, because just this other day, we got approved for 2 more reimbursements from French and Gray Road. And it came under, so there's gonna be $40,000 returned to the general fund in chapter 90, which is already included in this report tonight.
Okay, so I think it was like negative 400,000 or something in the
Yeah, until
BVA.
you get the reimbursements, and so that's never gonna be the same as what I'm presenting to you.
It's a grant-based thing that you don't have to throw the money up front. You spend it and it shows how much has been spent and then it's reimbursed. It's, like you said, it's a funny dog to get a handle on.
And I can get a bill for Royalston Road for 7 grand, and then, I mean, until you get to reimbursement, it takes a long time. It's never gonna catch up. Now we're gonna
Okay.
get into 26, so it's all my reimbursements have been put in the last 2 I should have before the end of June for the end of the year, so it might pick it up then.
So are you saying in that sense, and just pardon me if I'm going too long here, but the money that you're talking about here that is positive, would be the grant that we've received, right? Or the money we've received from
Only-
chapter 90?
The
we
only
have promised?
positive money here tonight, in front of you is the 269,688 of chapter 90, and the other positive money is the 97,000 that's their share. Then come July, after the governor signs everything, then I can rely on that 610. I can't, right now I could do some work or get it started using that 269. But
Mhm.
I can't commit to anything else until the other money's been approved.
Once you approve this stuff and then he's gotta get the projects and he's gotta fill out all kind of stuff to submit to the state and they look at it. You're paving a long enough section of road, so that qualifies, so they approve it, and then you can go do the work and you gotta submit all the bills, and then that's why it shows up negative sometime. It looks like, wow, we're in the hole, but we spent the money, we're just waiting for the money to come to get the bills, and then it comes from state government with that.
And like I say, any unused money, it all goes back to chapter 90 general fund, and nothing to the town. The only thing the town gets is reimbursements they submit.
Okay, thank you.
And sometime when they come and check the projects, they just they do a drive-by almost, and yeah, that's good. I mean,
Now we
it's-
gotta take pictures and send them and.
you gotta jump through 6 hoops and they just chink.
Yeah.
It's. But
Any other questions?
Thank you for that.
there are no other questions. I would entertain a motion to approve the chapter 90 plan as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. A second.
Second by Ms. Basso. Any other discussion? Hearing none on the motion, how would you vote, Mr. May?
Since the packet wasn't in the report, I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
I am going to reluctantly vote yes, because it wasn't in per our policy. But the Royalston Road is just too important to, but in the future, we have to follow our policy. That motion passes 4 yeses and Mr. May abstained at 8:04.
So the plan is I'm gonna submit. So I submit these proposals to MassDOT. I'm hoping to Boylston Road before the end of June. And it's a matter of getting on the contractor's paving schedule for the rest of the work. And I'll also send in the job request for putting that 411 into the engineering on Boylston Road. Like Jeff said, there's
Right.
a lot of steps I have to do and get approved and wait for approvals, and I want to get going on it right away. I'm actually about a month behind. This should have been done this month.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next item, item D. The Maple School Street Neighborhood Infrastructure Bid. I don't believe what was in the packet. I'm puzzled by it. It shows to authorize Adam Lamontagne to sign along with John Driscoll, Templeton Municipal Light and Water Plant General Manager, and the amount of $1,850,725 contingent on the 2024 annual town meeting. Again, I'm puzzled by this item. Annual town meeting at May 15th, 2024, Article 27. Water plant debt authorization of $400,000 did pass unanimous. Back in the annual town meeting of May 11th, 2022. Article 27, it was water plant debt authorization, total of $2.2 million. But I'm just puzzled by the item that was in our packet. It just, there was a copy and paste mistake. The town, 2024 town meeting, the article obviously passed. Mr. Lamontagne is no longer an employee of the town, so I'm just, I don't even know exactly what I'm voting on.
Yeah. I can clarify that.
That'd be good.
So on the agenda, it should have said bid, it should have said project. That motion is the motion that was made last year when the board approved for Adam as town administrator to sign all the related documents. Well, now they're nearing the end of the project, and because it specifically names Adam as the person signing the documents, Linda Overing, our CDBG coordinator, had reached out and asked if I could have the board approve me to sign the related documents for the end of the project. So we just put this in to show you what the original the original motion was. So I'm just looking for authorization to sign the related documents for the Maple and School Street project ending. It's almost completed.
All right, this sounds like it's one of those instances that back up. When we do motions to sign something, we name a position rather than an individual because the chairs change from year to year for people that don't run, or, it just, so if you name a position, because Adam Lamontagne and Mike Curry will show up as chair for, I'm not kidding you, next year, something will come in town hall.
Yeah.
no matter how much you send out and update stuff, it's in somebody's email system somewhere.
Mhm.
And we get stuff like this, so it would be better to assign the position instead of the person to sign, so, town administrator gonna sign, okay, the town administrator can sign. The chair's gonna sign, the chair sign, the board will sign, the board will sign, because when you start putting names in there and things change, somebody can resign from the board, somebody can leave a position. And, we get this,
Makes
just
sense.
my thought on it, that in the future, we do name a position to sign stuff. And whoever's in that position, well, you're authorized to sign, you sign. That's my thought on this.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Knight.
I don't know if when I was out, you had this discussion, and I apologize if you did. But I just would like some clarification on the numbers. Because I look at $1,850,725. And we have 400,000 approved, which would leave $1.5 million that we need, and the grant, from my recollection and from what was reported by the state, is 1.35. So there's $100,725 that I don't see covered.
I had Linda, you might not have seen the email, it probably came when you were heading out. I had Linda kind of explain it. Templeton Municipal Light and Water is also contributing towards the project. And she had kind of explained it in her email, what the split was. But this motion isn't about the money, just so we're clear. It's just about authorizing me to sign the documents. The bid was already awarded, the project's nearing its end. And we just need to be able to authorize me to sign the documents. Her explanations.
That's what this paragraph's supposed to ask.
Yeah, the 7D that's in there is just the motion that was made last time. That was
Yeah.
probably my mistake to put it in there. I
Yeah.
just thought, I thought it would clarify things and it confused things instead.
Can we table this until we have, proper documentation?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to have something that says what we're doing, why we're doing it, and, kind of show me that the numbers work.
This is just about authorization for me signing the.
But this
closing
is
document.
nothing. What I have here, right, 7D, this doesn't say anything about you authorizing.
No, it's in the motion, in the suggested motion.
Well, I don't get those.
It's in the packet right behind the agenda. Right behind the agenda.
Yeah, no, I don't have.
Motions.
Yeah, I have the emotion, the
Yeah.
motion for it, yeah.
It's in the motions.
Oh, the answer is in the motion.
Yeah, that the point is to authorize me to sign. That's in the motion.
Again, if we had voted to have the position signed rather than, we
Right.
wouldn't even.
We wouldn't even
need
have it
it
on
right
here.
now.
I agree.
Which we often do when it concerns the chair signing, but
Right.
sometimes we name people and it's.
I just know they're gonna be ending in June. I'm not sure if it's close to the middle. The 11th is the next meeting.
Did you get the motion?
Nope. I understand the confusion because the motion is confusing too.
And I didn't even get the motion, so. Yeah. So my motion stands. The request.
This page. It says motion. Yep.
I got motion from May last year.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
So this is just copy and pasted? This, the 7D? No, this is the motion that was made when it was originally awarded.
All right, so can I want a second to table it and have it rewritten so that it's a little more clear.
This has nothing to do with the vote. This is just showing you what was voted last year. It's probably just too confusing the way it was presented.
Yeah.
Holly, the monies
Her
from,
name's in there. Okay, now I see it.
Yeah.
the monies through Power and Light.
Yeah.
Was that, already paid out, do we know? Is that part of this lump sum?
I do not know about the money for that project. I wasn't involved in that.
That's part of my confusion as well. We're throwing a dollar amount. We don't even know if this is the correct dollar amount.
Right, but the vote isn't about money. I probably shouldn't have put that in there because that just confused it.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
Cause I looked at this in a different light. I looked at the 1,857,25. Meeting approval of $400,000 in debt. I added those together to come up with a 2.2 million, and that doesn't even make sense. So I'm sitting here looking at all these numbers and going, what are we doing?
There was an email supposedly gotten after we've already like came here. I didn't get any email. I shut my phone off when it came.
Oh, no, Bob had emailed with a question and I
Oh.
emailed back and said, Linda, can you answer this question? I can forward that to the board as well.
Again, that was well outside of our normal window for timing for having things. I would have to be the third saying we need to table this to a future meeting because there's too many questions, too much confusion in my mind.
I understand is to sign the grant, the CBG grant. So that can proceed, but, I wish there would have been, an explanation on 7D underneath the paragraph, what we did the previous year.
Mhm.
Oh, like about changing.
Yeah.
To say, yeah, that it was for the grant. This is just about closing the grant and signing for a grant. Not about what this and that.
That's a new question.
Grants are in particular. They're not signing what in the term they're supposed to.
Yes,
If I may try to clean this up. I would put forward a motion to award the Maple and School Street Neighborhood Infrastructure Project Grant to Caracas Construction Corporation to authorize Holly Young, interim town administrator, to sign any related contract documents. I would strike all the other verbiage.
That's where the motion's confusing. We don't need to award the grant. We just need to authorize the town administrator to sign any related documents for the Maple and School Street infrastructure project. I totally get the confusion on that. Me too.
Draw my motion.
Thanks.
Excuse me, motion withdrawn. Are you gonna attempt a second or?
This is just the closing documents. To finish off the grant.
Yes.
Drafting a motion.
The way Linda had worded it in her email was the same authority as Adam had to sign contract documents for the Maple and School Streets Neighborhood Improvement Project.
There you go.
Very
Mr.
well.
Chair,
Yes,
I move to authorize the interim town administrator to sign any documents to close out the Maple and School Street project infrastructure project.
a motion made. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Basso. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? On the motion. How do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes,
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yeah.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 8:22. Next item is item E, a senior center donation. Dear Select Board, please consider a vote to accept the following donation to the senior center. $175 anonymous donation. Signed, Jackie Prime, Community Services Director.
Move to approve the senior center donation and the amount presented.
second,
Motion made by Ms. Graves, second by Mr. May. Any discussion? On the motion, how do you vote, Mr. May?
yes,
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
And I vote yes. At 20:23. whoever made that donation, as in the past, thank you very much. The seniors really appreciate that. F, we've already done. Item G, Mr. Toth.
I just wanted this added to the agenda. At the close of the annual town meeting, there was a community interest form presented to the town moderator. My wife was appointed by him at the close of the meeting to the advisory committee per the bylaw, and she has gone through the steps and has been sworn in by the town clerk. We both are fully aware that disclosure is required. We have both filed, and not to speak on her behalf, but I have contacted the Ethics Commission. I filed the appropriate 20D3 disclosure form that is on file at the town clerk's office. So just full disclosure, we've already anticipated any discussions, considerations of any appearances, and we fully went through the requirements of the nepotism law, because it gets pretty involved and defines a bunch of things, but we're meeting all of the intents. And there's no action required on that.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes.
I just said thank you, Tim.
Oh. All right.
Very similar to when I was on the fire department. I had to do a very similar disclosure.
Thank you, Mr. Toth. Item H. Sign a letter requesting the state audit. Mr. Toth.
I believe we already got this one routed through with the prior board between the town meeting and this. Am I correct, Ollie? We got all the signatures, so
We did.
that letter did go forward.
Yes.
I did get an email this morning from Mr. Carden. He would like to set up it's probably gonna be a Zoom type meeting. He would like all the board members, if possible. I will get back to him and try to pin down some dates and times. I also requested the ITA be involved in that as well. The auditors are very, very happy and willing to work with us. And again, this is not that I'm looking to get anybody in trouble. We've had some questions, we've had some challenges, we've gone through people in and out of the role of the town accountants, and we've just, at the quick meeting prior to ATM, we did appoint a accountant on a temporary basis for 1 year, and I think this will be a nice clean move going in. Let's see where we actually stand. And who knows, along the way, we may find out something we did really, really awesome, and people can benchmark and follow our lead. So that was the intent when I requested, and this goes back a few months, to get the state audit involved.
Very good.
It's nice to see this one get to the finish line.
Well, it's probably good timing.
I think it is.
Item I. This is a discussion item. This is proposing to add or change something to the board's operating procedures and policy. And according to that policy, before any changes can be made, it must be discussed at least one select board meeting. It's why it's a discussion item. And right now, it says the clerk shall attest to all public documents as may be required to conduct the town's business. The clerk shall sign official documents on behalf of the board in instances where only one signature is required, and on all approved minutes. And this has come up before, and it will probably come up this evening in an executive session when there were no staff present. I was to propose that we add language under the responsibility of the clerk to take the minutes, record minutes for the meeting when there's no staff available. It's this was brought up, at a prior meeting, by a former member. But it was commingled in with a big amendment and it didn't gather support. The policy is supposed to be able to, newly people elected, you know, how does this work? What do I do? How does that go? This, that. You look into policies, the operating procedure, that's the guidelines. Tell employees, you want to put your report, you know, you're coming before the board to report, you need to get it to our office, the select board office, by this time and date, so it can be posted and we can get it.
So who's been doing the, excuse me, who's been doing the, executive minutes? And when there's no staff? Is it the chair that does it?
So sometime and it depends what we're talking about. There might be a staff member here, but in certain situations, they'll just be the board. So we have to have executive session minutes. And, you know, it's just, I'm just pointing it out that, to see what the board feels about it. And to put it on a future agenda for discussion, and if, as an action item, if the board wants to vote it and put it in place, they vote. If they don't, you just vote no. It's, again, you know, we come in here and sit here and go, oh, who's gonna take the minutes? But I figure if you put it in the policy in writing, it's clear who shall do it. And if the clerk is absent, then you can, you know, adjust, but generally, you know, the clerk's here. You can try to write up a contingency for everything that happens, and you'll just drive yourself nuts. Also, in the policies, there is the role of the board, and it has the role of the administrator. There is, I went looking, it may be, but I could not find it in writing that the board directed the town administrator to do a weekly report from all the departments. If I believe it was started by one administrator, and it's just been going that way. When we had the financial review from the Department of Revenue, the second one back in March of 2021, they did a recommendation or suggested move the town administrator weekly reports to a monthly. Again, that's in the review. Best I can recall, it's never, most of them have never come up in front of the board for action item. But just so, you know, we're clear, and department heads and know that this is a requirement of the board, because it not only informs us of what's going on, more importantly, it informs the residents. And again, this is just a pointing something out for the board members to think about. And if it makes it on a second meeting for consideration, and the board votes in favor of it, or the board votes no.
So we're on the weekly report. And so I've actually done the weekly report, and it's a lot when you're trying to get everything done. Sometimes it's not like a lot to say, you'll see it, they'll just say, we just did the regular office business, because there's not a lot. But some think that it should be like, you know, maybe once or twice a month and not weekly. I personally didn't care to do it weekly. I would have liked to do it maybe every other. I thought it was a lot to ask very busy people that are running departments and staff and so forth to try to sit down and take a few minutes to write something on a weekly basis on what they've done all week. And then the weekly report was told that it had to come in before, was it noon time on Wednesday, which everybody just said, how does that work? Because do I go from Thursday to Wednesday morning? I mean, what do I report on? Because it's not really weekly anymore. I think that the department heads would appreciate maybe a monthly one. Or if it's helpful to the board, because I've never sat in the board seat until now, so if it's helpful for us to have it, then even every other week or something, but I think every week is a lot to ask very busy department heads. And their staff to put together and send it, and then, obviously, it just seems like a lot. And only before disclosure because I did it.
Again, this could be an item where if you look at the financial review and, you know, the board can make a decision to have it monthly, have a bi-monthly, et cetera. It's just my thought that it should be in writing, however it's gonna be.
Well, I agree. I think that having the information, especially, it's helpful to understand what's going on to the residents. I think a lot of residents will read it. I think it's helpful. I would assume it's helpful to the select board and other boards, to understand what's going on. It allows everybody to see what's going on, but I feel like weekly is a lot. Every other week or once a month seems more reasonable to the staff, to update you. And I just feel like if you go back and you read some of them, you will see where there's just filler. Because nothing happened between A and B in a week. So, I just think we have a lot of very talented, busy staff, and to put undue burden on them. I think that personally, I feel like every other week or once a month would be sufficient enough for the select board, the residents, and the other departments to get understand what everybody's doing. Would probably, Holly would know better. Since she's
So,
worked on as well.
If I may.
Mr. May.
Yeah, I don't really like being a voice of dissension here. But I like the weekly reports. I think it's a matter of how they're written. I think they need to be more concise. And I don't think you save a nickel's worth of time if you're doing it on a week or a monthly basis, if you're reporting the same information. The only way you consolidate it by going monthly is by reporting less to the people. And I don't think that's a service to the people. I don't think that improves the condition of the taxpayer or the knowledge of the taxpayer. So I would just, I wouldn't mind, honestly, a bi-weekly, but I think you're gonna run into the same problems. That I think it's just gonna be more time every 2 weeks than the time it takes every month or every week. And, I really do think in a lot of the cases, I mean, granted, Candace has a lot of activities over on Parks and Rec, and she tries to denote them all, and that makes for a big report. Steve's report is usually long, but the others are fairly concise and short and very tightly written. And some of them are useless because they don't say anything. So I just think if we're gonna deliver services to the town, if that's our job, I think we should do it well. And that's about it.
It's tough.
Candace, I heard what you said. I respectfully disagree with part of it. One of the challenges we have right on the main page when you look up www.templetonma.gov as you scroll down is financial transparency. You will receive, and I'm speaking just out of history, having sat in this seat for 5 years now. The citizens will complain. They want to know, where's the money being spent? Why is Department X reporting nothing to report? What are they doing? It's the only way I can say it is each department needs to market, what are they doing? And it's the world we're in today. I don't agree that it should take a whole bunch to do. And I'm not saying it's necessarily the responsibility of a department head. Everybody has an administrative assistant. They can put together something, the department head can review it if they feel it's necessary. I personally, when I was in positions very similar in the civilian sector, I had full authority and responsibility and trust that my clerks would put out the correct information, even to the point where I had public information officers assigned. I didn't tell them how to do their job, they did their job. But I think anytime we're spending public funds, the citizens have the right to know about them. And if we look across, we're the microcosm, let's look at the national level. Right now, what's going on, it's horrible. And we don't want to get caught in that trap. It's just a concern that I've had for quite a while.
Oh, I agree that transparency is important and
Yep.
where the money goes. It's just the way that the report lands, how it happens. Like, so, so our week for the town, majority of the offices goes Monday through Thursday. And then you have, certain, public service DPW, they go to Friday. So when the report, like, that's the whole thing, is the report run from Thursday to Wednesday morning. Some people will add what they think is gonna happen in the next few extra days. And that's what I'm just saying, it's not really a true like week, you're not getting a full 1 week, you're getting a part of another week, maybe a weekend if you got like Parks and Rec does weekends.
Mhm.
So it's not a full it's not a week everybody's doing, so to call it a weekly report, it's a part of 1 week and another part of another week.
So,
To that point, if I may,
yes,
we just had Friday, 2 power failures and a major water main break just up the road.
Yep.
And I was on my way into work late after the activities at the schools for Memorial Day. So at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was like watching the Beverly Hillbillies with the bubbling crude coming up out of the street. And when I came home that night after 8 p.m., because I had to go in for my closing position, they were still out there working. That is something that I would anticipate we would see in the report. You know, they responded to an emergency, there was after hours work. That's the kind of things that the public wants to know what's going on. You know, why was my water brown? Why did I not have water pressure?
Yeah.
And those are the key things that I think should be in those reports. I'm not gonna dictate to any department head what they should and should not report, but just full disclosures. And it's just market yourself, market yourself, market yourself.
so, I would ask all of the members that commented to jot them down, so when this shows up as an action item to amend the policy, we can discuss all the different things and kick that around.
Yep.
Thank you all for your input. I will watch the meeting again and jot down all the notes of different people, so when it comes back up.
Mr. Chair, if I may be so bold, I'll add that this was a great discussion.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Good.
The next item, J, I might have goofed this up, my email, or it got lost in translation. It's listed as an action item. Part of it can be an action item because it's already in our financial management policy. Having a balanced budget, when, it's on page 2 of the financial management policy. It says the town will not balance the budget by using one-time or other non-reoccurring revenues to fund ongoing expenditures, except in the event of an emergency or extraordinary or unforeseen events. If extraordinary or unforeseen events necessitate a budget in which current revenues are less than current expenditures, and which thus relies one-time revenue to balance, the board and the town administrator shall provide, along with the budget, a plan to return to a structurally balanced budget in no more than 3 years. So last year, just the school assessment, we used 430,000 out of general stabilization fund. There are other things that we have adjusted the general fund budget either at a special town meeting or the following annual town meeting using free cash. This year, the second year in a row, we paid the assessment, which balances our budget, because the total budget is 20-something mil, and the school is a bill that we have to pay, but we used 168,000 or so of free cash. So we are behind a year in doing this. But our policy, and again, you know, the policy isn't something just to, hey, look we got a financial management policy and put it on the shelf and forget about it. It tells us how we're gonna do things. The board says, if we have to use one-time money, we're gonna come up with a plan that the town is poor at planning, poor at execution, and poor at following policies. That's my opinion. Sat on this board, the advisory committee for a number of years. It's my observation, it's my opinion. And I believe I can throw documentation to back up my opinion. So since that's already a policy, the board didn't vote. And again, I think it was lost in translation, and I wouldn't ask for a motion on the fly. But I will be putting this on agenda at one of the June meetings for action to produce a plan to, one way or another, to stop using free cash. Our current accounting service, Fred Aponte, I will dig up the email and send it to the members. But back in 2013, fiscal 14, when there was a $505,000 shortfall, it was, nobody stole money. It was just goof ups on paper. However, when they were trying to look, and I say the town coordinator at the time, Mr. Jeff Ritter, Fred Aponte, the DOR, they went back and they looked, and a number of years, the town kept using all of its free cash to fund its budget. And it's even in the DOR financial review of March 2021, which you, if you don't have a copy of it, I will send you one, but you all should have one in that big welcome selectman book. They note that the town needs to get away from using one-time money to fund the general fund budget, the operating expenses. You're gonna keep having money troubles. So we don't have Keebler elves down in the basement that I'm aware of printing money, so we have to, it's upon us to come up with the solutions. And one, residents may not like, but and that's an override, which increases the amount of money you can raise through property taxes. Can't throw that out them at the last minute, and in March, February. It's something I think that the board needs to explore over the next year, whether we do one next year or the year after, but it can't not talk about it and just throw it out there at the last minute, because the people will just go. So again, this is, I will take the hit on this, that I may not have worded my email correctly or missed the discussion thing. The other item, half that is not in it is in the policy, but it would be changing the policy, which means, it couldn't be an action item tonight, is the use of free cash. And back probably, I don't know, it's 2017 or 2018. It started out that the financial management policy would be 50% of free cash would be set aside to cover things like snow and ice, deficit, and other things, and 50% of it we'd get divided up and make deposits in our general stabilization, our capital stabilization, the OPEB money, which is the health insurance for town retirees, because you have that obligation. You have to have the money to pay it. I think there's one town no, there's two. I know Leominster fully funded theirs, and the town of Wellesley did it, and they pulled a fast one, and the DOR said, ain't nobody else doing that the way they did it. But it was pretty creative. So we have a multi-million-dollar obligation, and they let us kick the can down the road and throw a little bit of money in there. Well, if the financial management policy now says there'll be 67% of free cash can be used for the budget and other things. And the rest will go into the stabilization funds. Back when it was 50-50, we had too few funds to fund with that free cash. So you've reduced the percentage of free cash that you have. You've increased the number of stabilization funds. So when you take out 400,000 out of general stabilization in the next year, but just based on the percentages, you're putting a smaller amount of money away in all of your funds. And the capital stabilization fund, it has the town a goal, and the town will, the selectmen will strive to put X amount of money aside for a percentage of the general fund budget in an attempt to cash and carry. When you have a capital project, something you're gonna buy or do, the idea is to put enough money in the capital stabilization so you can pay cash. So you cut down on your borrowing, which saves money, and you don't have future debt, which takes away, you know, when you lease stuff, that's future debt. You have to find that money next year for the length of that lease. The ambulance, we took money out of the ambulance receipts, and it's 400 something thousand, and boom, you order it and it's all done. You don't have to find that money like we do for the tanker lease for 5 years. And I think that should be revisited, and the percentages, I think the board should consider flipping that, the 67%. The bigger number should be going into our reserve funds, which has an effect on our credit rating, which has an effect on the cost of borrowing money for debt exclusions, like the Main Street Bridge. That Bob was talking about, the intersection, Otter River Road, North Main Street, Lord Road, commonly called Gilligan's Island. I don't know if you drive out that way, but it's flooded in the wintertime and block the road off. Why? Because that plan got created, it didn't go to town meeting, because wow, it's gonna cost this much, and we don't have the money and this, but you know, that's a service to the resident. Everybody travels on the road, everybody. The police, the fire, the ambulance, you wanna get to work, you wanna go get a coffee, you wanna go visit, everybody travels on the roads. And we shouldn't be having roads closed because can't put the money away to do the repair that needs to be done. So again, I think it's flipped. I was on the board when this happened, and now we have the data that shows we're putting more money, one-time money to support the budget, and we're putting less money aside to do things. You put more money aside when you have that 400 and something $1,000 bill come in for design work to keep this project going. If you're only putting peanuts away, it's just not smart to me. Again, we've gathered the data, we've shown that we're putting less money away than we were, excuse me, 3 years ago, because of the percentages. And again, I will be putting this on the agenda to put in front of the board to consider making those changes to the financial management policy. I just think it's smart for us to do that and to show the residents, hey, we're trying to put away as much of your money as we can to do these big things, but but you gotta help us out because we need to borrow the money. It's that simple. Grants, yes, that's a way to go. But again, if you to get a grant, you gotta put some money aside to match or do this. You gotta put some money aside, and if you just keep spending all your money, you reach in your pocket and you got nothing. Again, even the DOR pointed it out to us back in 2021 and 2009. So that is the reason I put this on the agenda to look into financial management policy under the use of free cash. You'll see the percentages, and that's what I have pointed out and discussing. The last thing that I had on the agenda is just to inform you of a request to do an end of the year transfer that would involve the Board of Selectmen and the Advisory Committee. It's something that the board can do from May 1st to July 15th without having a town meeting. It merely takes money, moves it from this department over to that department to cover a shortfall or a needed expense. And in this case, recently a town meeting voted to buy the electronic clickers and that system for a town meeting vote. Carol was very glad, town clerk was very glad that passed, and I think it's a really good thing. One thing that nobody, including myself, asked, where's the money coming from? I talked with the town clerk and the moderator at the end of the meeting. It costs the expense will be less than $10,000. So it doesn't have to go to the capital improvement committee. The town clerk says she has about $4,000 in one fund and maybe a little bit in another account. So we would need to be doing a transfer of like $6,000 because you don't want to be $10 short after you do a just move over a little bit. If it's not spent, it just rolls into free cash, just like if you left it where it came from. And the treasurer is going to need about $3,000 for the printing and mailing of the first and second quarter real estate and personal property tax bills. She has an item in her budget that each year she has to do a report to Hilltop Securities, which oversees the town bond stuff or borrowing. Increases in, some expenses. So she's going to be looking for a few $1,000s again to be transferred. And the place that I looked at, and I went to the town accountant, Melanie Jackson, before she left. There was in the fiscal 25 budget, there's a tree laborer in the highway department. The salary is $54,000. He was never hired. So that's one short place that we could transfer, $6,000 for that and $3,000. So around, just figure, look at 10 grand from the highway personnel account over to the town clerk and the treasurer to cover these two bills.
Did you ask Bob?
I emailed Bob Sozik to let him know that I was considering putting in front of the board a transfer of that from that account over to here. Because again, the money shouldn't have been spent because it's a salary.
Ominous budget, and many departments can transfer their wages that they don't use to use for other things that they may need, when they don't, because it's the budget is, you go in front of the town administrator and you say, this is what you want, and then it goes in front of to be voted, but it goes voted as one lump sum. And so the department head has the ability, if he was to be short on another end on a service thing or a supply thing, he might have think that he might transfer it to help make that payment. That's why I just asked if he had it earmarked at the end of the year to do anything with it. 'Cause he
I
didn't
checked with,
hire-
like I said, I checked with the accountant. There was 194,000 in there the day before her last day, which was the 21st. And she printed out how much is there. And I emailed Mr. Sozik and he hasn't responded, got back to me on it yet.
Okay.
But again, that's not the only place you can move money from, but
Right.
that is what I looked at because it should be there.
How about the, oh, I guess it. I mean,
So
we wouldn't consider emergency, I was gonna say, the advisory has that $50,000.
when, and I checked with the current chair of the advisory committee and he was fine with it. He mentioned the town's reserve fund, which hasn't been used and there's 40-something thousand in there, 50,000, whatever the amount is, hasn't been used this year. But the town treasurer has a bill to pay and the town clerk wants to buy that because there's no money in the 26 budget. So if we do a transfer at the end of the year, the money can be moved over to the town clerk. She can go through with the process of buying the stuff. Let the accountant know to encumber that money, so if the bill comes in July, the money is encumbered, it's sitting there. We don't have to go to town meeting with a late bill, hey, blah, blah, so. Again, this was just to inform the board the need for these two transfers. There could be others. But these are two that will be coming, and that's where I checked the first place, was the tree labor, because again, it's 54,000 and it never used. I don't know what I think the health insurance is a little too tight to go, but
Can we ask
there will be, again, I will check with the current accountant, to see what's in there. And I'll go knock on Bob's door and let him know.
in this discussion, can we ask
So,
all of her thoughts?
On the transfers?
And where if, I mean, the money, obviously, we need to, we have money. It's a matter of where your thoughts would be. You think?
in the end of the year transfer, no matter where it comes from, is contingent on the select board voting yes and the advisory board voting yes. So, again, it's the thing you put on the warrant, just like the agenda, just like anything else. The advisory committee, maybe they just go, no, I don't think we're gonna do that. It would just be in front of the board and the committee for a vote. And I just wanted to inform the board of these two issues in case you weren't aware of them.
I'm just not a fan of taking it out of the department head's budget without understanding what his thoughts were on the money that he didn't use for that employee.
So. And that's all that I had on here for item K. The next item is I, which is Mr. May on a town-wide inventory. Mr. May?
All right. The reason I asked for this to be on for discussion is because this has been, let's say, an ongoing pain in my side since about 2016. And I just brought in just a couple little items here from our audit reports, 2019, this one here, it talks about inventory, and we've got a new reporting system, so this should be great now. And then it says inventory should be taken periodically and the listing should be updated at that time. In 2021, it goes on to say, work towards increased tax levy funding of capital plan. Templeton's primary capital funding source is free cash and blah, blah, blah. And then it gets down to, talking about review the completeness of the capital inventory and update it each year. In 22, it talks about capital assets, and the town has made significant progress in the capital assets reporting. In the prior year, we recommended that the town accountant review the current inventory listing that were created over 15 years ago and determine if they need to be updated for capital assets that no longer are in service. And there's a reference in the 19 about vehicles that we don't own anymore. I've been asking for an inventory when I was on capital, when I was on advisory, back when Carter was here, and it just keeps rolling as an ask. And I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me how we can have a capital plan without knowing what we own. I don't understand how we can try and figure out what we're gonna buy, what we need, if we don't know what we have. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I think it's a vital piece of the pie that we're missing. And I think the controls on the inventory are also an issue, because we have, old inventory that's hanging around. Anytime you want verification of that, just drive by the fire station and there's, a handful of old relics out in the back. And I just think we need to know what we have. We need to know that, for one, it lets us know that things aren't walking away. And I'm not saying that we need an inventory down to pencils and paper, but I'm thinking that we need an inventory that at least matches our capital requirements of 10,000 or over. Should all be listed. And that's, to include properties, buildings, roads, sewer lines, water lines, vehicles, and whatever else we own that's over $10,000. And I think this comes to, there's a wide variety of reasons that we'll benefit from this, because we had, and I'm sure we have a portion of this, or we have something somewhere, but it's not accessible to, I've never seen it. Let's just say that. And I've been looking for a while. But the sewer lines, I have no idea how old our sewer lines are. What percentage of them are ancient and so forth, what our replacement schedule is for them, the same thing with the water lines. No idea. And I think to plan, you have to know those things. I don't know how the water department, figures out how they're gonna do the water, fix the water lines when they have no idea how old they are, if they don't. But I just think this is a tool that we're missing that we need. And I just like it to be,
Is the program that Bob has, the one that they're still trying to set up, is that program is supposed to do inventory? Am I believe so. That Bob at the Department of Public Services was working on, doing various inventory.
I'm not sure if that does inventory. I know that it does,
I think that's what
it's
they
gonna
said.
do work orders where they can all,
Yeah, but I
go
think
in and
I think
see.
it records so he knows what the inventory is as well, but I think there was because of the assistant before, she was big on it, and so it kind of I think it's yeah, I think so. I think, but I know that department was working on inventory, and I believe I was told that it was, that's the new system. It was part of the, I want to say part of the cemetery, this, all that, like they went into training for these things. And it was supposed to keep an inventory. I don't remember the name of the system, but I believe so, in that department. Other departments, I don't know. I just know in Parks and Rec, I did, for every sport, I keep a inventory sheet of what has been bought, as it gets bought and put into it, so we understand what we have. I would assume that many other departments would have some kind of spreadsheet or something to say, you know, and how old something is, I would assume. But assumption is not usually a great idea. I mean, I would hope that every department has something, but I guess that could be something that, it could be something that we make sure happens. I don't know how to say it. Yeah, I think it should be every department, I mean, it's accountability. We should know what we have, we should know how old it is, and we should know when we surplus this and take it out of the system and when it was taken out of the system and where it went. I mean, I'm always told that we can't just throw something away. I was told you had to, you know, I mean, this board votes to surplus it. Parks and Rec has a board to surplus it. And I was told that you just didn't throw anything away because it is, it's town assets. And then you have to report where it went. So I would assume that, I mean, it would be nice to have like a whole thing that anybody could go in and know where it is and what happened to it, and if we still have it and how old it is. From everything from the pipes under the ground to the, everything. I mean,
I think it would help capital planning immensely.
too.
I would just add that there's one thing, additional thing that the town has a lot of, and that is land. We have
Yep.
around 100 lots of different stuff, and it's listed on the assessor's property card page, but what's it doing? You know, I don't think it's ever been assessed, appraised, had somebody look at it. What can it go for? Is it in a section of town where it's commercial? Is it residential? Is it organized? Put it out for, see what we can sell. It's an additional thing to,
No, I think capital improvement got a list about some of those properties back, and they were asking about what could be used for anything. They have requested a list on that, so I know some lists have been put together.
And just if I may,
yes.
to Candace's point, you know, you can, you know, request from the fire department a list of vehicles and they'll send you a list of vehicles. You can request from the DPW a list of vehicles they have, and it's a list of vehicles. Where it gets a little bit interesting is when you compare years upon years, you know, because things get missed.
Yeah.
But you know, you can get pieces and parts, but to have that, you know, entire package to know what you're doing, for them, because I mean, capital planning is really at this point working like capital ordering, not to get off point, but it's capital ordering because we don't have a plan, because we don't have inventory, because we don't know, and so forth. That's a whole nother discussion for another day, but.
In the private sector and you work in a business and you have to, like, especially retail, you have to do all of your inventory, and then it gets sent into the main person who keeps track of it in some kind of spreadsheet or database, so that the company knows what you have. I mean, and town should be doing the same thing. I mean, it's a matter of who is supposed to keep the complete database that anybody in the town or resident could ask, you know, do you still have that? Or, you know, what are you doing with that? And having that ability would be wonderful. It'd be a goal, it'd be a nice goal.
It'd be something a purchasing department would probably do.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's something that I think it's definitely, I mean, I believe that a lot of the information is probably already there. Many departments must know what they have and don't have, I would assume. But then, yeah.
All right, you good with that?
Mhm.
All right, the last item on the agenda is a discussion on hiring, advertising, full-time TA, Mr. May.
All right, I put this on there because I think we need to discuss it. And the reason I think we need to discuss it is because we haven't since we tried to hire Carter. You know, we've haven't, put out ads, in years. And I really think we need to explore what's out there. You know, and I think if we don't, we're doing a disservice to the taxpayer. Simply because we should be looking for the best option we can get. You know, and this is no offense to Holly, no offense to anything. I just think this is what we need to do as a board. We should get the best TA that we can for the town. And, you know, create the best staff that we can afford. And I just think it's, you know, we don't know how long this is gonna take. If, you know, we come to it. And I just don't want to be sitting here in, let's say, August, September, going, oh, well, now we gotta, you know, we're crunch, potentially. Oh, we don't need, but we're crunch. I just think sooner is better than later. And
Well,
that's where I
I think
wanna,
we should have learned something from the time that the town accountant left until we got the next one. I feel like, you know, I'm not a big fan of having, putting someone in, or maybe possibly, or to, audition for it, but also in my experience in this town with working with hiring, I was always told that any job, especially, you know, if you're gonna move up, or if, all jobs are supposed to be posted. I was always told that, even when we did a pilot program and we wanted the person who helped us with the pilot program to have the job, I was told that we had to post the job. Also, I've also heard from residents, and everybody thinks that we should post the job. They would like to see who's out there. So, I mean, I think we should post the job, and this isn't an offense to anybody that wants the job, but I feel like we should have learned something from the accountant. I mean, we went all that time without it and things didn't happen. And, to put our town, I think it's disservice not to post the job and let everybody apply for it that wants to apply for it. And let the residents see.
if I may, Mr. Chair. To your point, Candace, and I agree that, even in the personnel policy, it states exactly what you just said, that when a position becomes open, it's the town administrator's job to post that position. And not doing that violates our policy. And we seem to do that regularly. So, anyway, I just wanted to point that out. But it's just a thought that I think we need to follow through on.
I
And that's
agree
it.
with that.
And this is just a discussion thing that we have to kick the can to another meeting to vote on it. Is that how it works?
She had a question.
I just question, it's listed as a discussion item. I was wondering, is this something that you have to kick it to the next meeting, or can we just vote on it and have it posted? If that's what we want to do, or do we have to put it in our next agenda to post it?
It's not listed as an action item ready for vote. So I believe we would have to wait, push this out till the next meeting.
So this would be.
What we should also, if you're going to go out for that, how are you going to, when you get applicants? How is it gonna be interviewed? Are we going to use a committee to search? Are we gonna use the Collins Institute, for example, are we going to try and use the small town administrators? Are we going to try to contact some local town administrators and say, hey, you keep in contact with these, other town administrators, they know each other, they talk. Hey, is anybody out of work? Do you know anybody who's looking? And, there are Orange, Berry, Ashburnham.
No, I just think.
One,
that-
there's towns looking, so I think, you need to decide, because you want to advertise, okay, but when you get them, what's the qualifications, who's going to interview them? Again, how are you going to do this? Because if you want to do it in an organized manner, and you should come up with a plan, how you want to approach this.
Wouldn't it be very similar on what the school districts have done in the past when they hire a superintendent, or like, they come in front of everybody? And the community has a right to ask questions too. I mean, it's one of the top tier jobs in our town. A committee usually happens first and looks at the candidates, and then puts the top tier in front of the, the school. Anybody can go to the meetings and see them. And
We would also need to look at the job description,
I couldn't find it.
because
online.
it's on the website, it's under the administrator's contract in 2023, that expired in 2023. There's a 3-page job description for the town administrator. That needs to be looked at to decide, in my view, if the board is happy with that, or if we want to change it, add this or that. In the town compensation plan, there's some information in there, and I just think if you're going to go down this route, you pencil out what you want to do, especially look at the job description. Maybe the board doesn't agree with the job description, maybe you want to add stuff, take away stuff. Because if somebody comes here, say, hey, but sends in a resume, says, oh, contact somebody, hey, I'm interested in a job, well, what am I gonna do? We again, it's an important position, and I just don't want to rush. This ain't my call, it's a board vote. I just think the way that it is presented, it's discussion, and it's not an action item to vote on to do. And again, I go back to our policy. If it's an action item, you need to have fully vetted stuff. And are we gonna put an ad in the paper? We're gonna go this route, we're gonna put it on, you're gonna send it to small town administrators, we're gonna put it in the Beacon. How are we going to advertise this? Because depending on where we go, there may be money involved. Again, you want to look at the job description. To me, it's trying to rush into this is as bad as not doing anything, almost worse. That's my view. Mr. Chair.
I just want to say, I mean, this is why I put it on, because we need to have this discussion, and I don't want to be having these discussions in August. I mean, we absolutely need to have these discussions, and we need to figure out what and how we're gonna do this, but we need to do it. We can't just wait around and hope for, somebody to fall out of the sky, or,
No.
something, or whatever.
Because there's not many out there,
Yeah.
truthfully. There might be a few out there, but I
There's
don't know
a
if
few
you want to
we
take
can-
on somebody else's problem. But again, I'm just looking at, where are we gonna go with this? What places are we gonna put this? Maybe you could put it on Facebook and somebody calls up and say, hey, I'm looking for a
You post
position.
the job, and then, there's also the posting that most jobs go into is that, I don't know the illegal name for it, but it's the Massachusetts one with all the municipals. I'll go into a thing, and then every candidate, who's interested in the job applies for it, then you usually have, like we did with the grant writer, we had a committee that talked to that person, and then, because this is the town administrator's job, it went to the town administrator, I believe, who also had like a say too at the end of the committee. But because that's not would be the thing, it would probably, it's just a matter of if it's, if it just, how, I believe that the candidate should go in front of the select board, after the committee dwindles them down. I mean, it could be just Holly, that's it, applies, that's it, it could be just, but I think that the residents have said, and it's clear that they would like to see the job posted. It's not it's not a spite to anybody, it's just that they felt like it's the highest job in the town, that, every other job gets posted, and it should be posted, and nobody wants to wait until September and we learned, not having somebody in a long time, or adding extra work for the next person, like Melody had to play catch up with everything. And I'm not big on just making people wait to find out if they could be it or not. I just feel like it should be posted, and there should be a committee, when the applications come in, and then, a good cross, like, different, like the grant writer had the fire chief on it, I was on it, a select board member was on it, were you Holly on it? I can't remember. Yeah, Holly was on it. So it was a good cross of different departments and people in it that wanted to, to ask the questions of the grant writers, and, and it can go to, sometimes they can go, committees can go, you can do three tiers of a committee. You could just do 2 tiers of a committee. But it should be posted the regular normal way. And if anybody has the right, in the town, it doesn't matter if you're on this board or anything, anybody can tell somebody else or go in that network of town administrators or whatever, but, the regular normal way of doing it in this town business is to post a job, is you just post it on the town, our town opportunities, and then it goes, most of the bigger jobs get posted, I've seen ours on that site. Like I said, there's a Massachusetts site and local papers or whatever we normally do, and we just normally do it. And everybody who wants the job just puts in for it and does the interview process. And I think it's better, than, I'm just not a big fan of, temporary. I like the temporary person to be able to be go for it and be fun if they want to. I just think you're just wasting your time. I don't know. I've never been a fan of temporary. I've always been a fan of straightforward, let's go for a job. But again, in my personal experience in the town of hiring, I was always told every job, like we had a coordinator that was an assistant, but we had the head one that was leaving, we couldn't just promote up, we had to post the job. And every job has to be posted, even seasonal has to be posted. So it is a policy of the town as far as, I mean, I don't know where it is in writing, but that's how I was told to do it, and that's what I followed.
That was a past town administrator that suggested that.
Right.
You don't actually have to post it at all. It's situational.
It's in the policy,
What policy?
the personnel policy.
That jobs have to be posted?
And probably, I didn't know the whole thing. I know there's a thing that you can't wear t-shirts and sweatshirts. I got to the part, which I thought was funny for the DPW people. Didn't make sense. But yeah, I just feel like it should be on our next agenda in some kind of plan. And that's usually traditional hiring practices that you see, like even the school, the hiring practices, usually there's a committee. When the applications come in, they interview them and they do recommendations. And then I would assume that after the recommendations, that the candidates would come in front of the select board. If there's more than one candidate.
I'm good.
Anybody else?
Anything?
I've always seen jobs.
All right, that concludes the agenda. There's nothing under old business. board member comments, and then there will be a vote to decide to go into executive session. That was posted on the agenda. Mr. May?
All I gotta say is, welcome and congratulations to the other new board members. And, I hope that the two old board members have some patience and tolerance.
Ms. Bessel?
No.
Nothing? Ms.
Um,
Graves?
I just wanted to say that I too, I didn't know I could put it as an agenda item, but I too have, talked to ethics about my family, people in my family, and I filled mine out. What they told me to fill out, I think it's 23A or something, and it's all in the clerk's office and everything, so all of mine, but they didn't feel like, yeah, so I did everything they told me to do. And, I just wanted to have that, I like to, I say I'm excited to be a member of the select board, and, I thought our conversations today were really good and productive and polite, and I liked it. And congratulations to everybody and even old members.
Mr. Toth?
Couple quick things. We celebrated Memorial Day. The schools did their typical wonderful, outstanding presentations. Templeton Elementary, the weather held off because theirs is outdoors on the sports field. The kindergarten through fourth grade do poems and songs, or everything patriotic. I'll tell you what, it pulls at the heartstrings. Jeff, they give the fifth graders a run for their money. They truly do. One of my counterparts, because they put the veterans right up front, and he leaned over at one point, he says, man, I can't remember what I had for breakfast. These kids have all this stuff memorized, and look at them, and that just nailed it. The high school was a little bit different. Mr. Brio was the guest speaker. Wonderful job. They highlighted the 4 flags and the memorials. They were all Vietnam veterans who lost their lives during that war. And you could have heard a feather fall to the floor during the presentations and going through each and every piece of it. There was one other young man who does not have something up there, and the parting question was, is that a memorial? Yes or no, you decide. And I think it was overwhelming that yes, everybody said it was. Congratulations to all the new members. Welcome aboard. If you don't yet know it, congratulations. You are now part of the MMA, the Mass Municipal Association, and there is a select board division of that. You already have a seat. I will print out and leave in the mailboxes, or I will email them to you individually. There is a new select board member orientation coming up in mid-June. It'll be over at Devon's. They're going to feed you lunch that day. You do have to pre-register for it. It's a wealth of information. And trust me, you're gonna walk out of there with your head spinning and going, what did I get into? But it's very good. I did it the first year under COVID remotely, and we had no clue. The second year, when I went to the conference, I resat through it, and I picked up so many things that I missed the first time through. So don't feel bad. There's a lot of information gonna come at you hard and fast. And there's about 200 different laws and decrees and other pieces of the puzzle where we draw our power from as elected officials. So you're not going to know it all overnight. The last thing I have, I'd like to at some point put this on a future agenda, is to review our master plan. It's very stale. The current one is 2017, and it definitely needs some updates and tweaks. That's just something that I looked at. And that's all I have. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. I have 2 things. I'm gonna do the nice one first. I happen to be a veteran, and it's no big deal, but back in 2020, at a select board's meeting, the board was handled a bunch of cards. These were not store-bought cards. They were made by a group of 5th graders. 5th grade history class by a teacher named Lisa Damon. She's an awesome teacher. The only thing that may be more awesome than her about the kids when they do this project for Veterans Day that she has been doing for a long time. A lot of kids. I've had the privilege, and it is a privilege, to meet the class, the fifth grade class, since 2020. Every November, around November 11th, Veterans Day, maybe a couple days before, a couple days after. We get to meet the whole class, talk with Miss Damon. The kids do an awesome job. They do poems, they do skits, they do cards. They've handed out some of their Halloween candy. I told them that they should hoard that. They've done some posters, talking with them, the veterans that have gone there. I'll say the same, pretty much the same thing. The kids are awesome, and it's neat to meet them. Miss Damon has pulled her papers. She's done her 20 and she's getting out. She's done an awesome job. I emailed her, and I will take the liberty to speak on behalf for the veterans in Templeton and Phillipston and beyond, and maybe the residents. It's a debt, in my opinion, that can never be paid. The scale is just what she did, introducing the fifth graders to something I think is very, very important. All I have to say is thank you, Lisa. And on behalf of all the veterans and residents, I wish her well in wherever she goes and whatever she does. She will be missed. I selfishly wish she was staying, but when you go, and I wish her nothing but the best. Last day of school is, I think, June 18th. I'm going to try to sneak over and see if I can meet her and say thank you in person. But anyone out there who isn't aware of that, every time I get a chance to mention her and the fifth graders and that project, I do. So to Lisa Damon, thank you so much, and we wish you the very best wherever you go and whatever you do. Second, to the new members on the board, 3 of you, thank you very much. It's time consuming, it's a chore, it's not always pleasant. It's a job, it's a task, it's a responsibility we have. You're elected by the people. They've hired you to do a job. They want that job done. They said it at meetings, they've said it at town meeting, they say it on Facebook, they'll say it in person to you, every which way you can think of. So I thank you. Sometimes we work a little late, but it is what it is. So thank you very much. On the other part of that, you have been hired to do a job. You have a duty. And your duty is assigned and stated in multiple Mass General laws. And part of our duty is to sign the payroll warrants and the bill paying warrants for all the departments, the light department, the water department, sewer department, everything. It's in Mass General law. The accountant can prove it. The treasurer cannot write any checks. No bills will get paid until the selectmen sign the warrant. You have to be able to go into it. The law does allow for the select board to elect one member to go in and sign the warrant on behalf of the board, just like the school committee does. And then the requirement is at the very next meeting, that member has to brief the board on what was in that warrant and everything. Me personally, I wouldn't want to go down that road. I believe each individual selectman should go in and read through the warrant, and you have the legal right to read through the warrant. And if you see something questionable, you don't understand, you're not sure about this expense, you have the legal right to write hold on that. And the treasurer is not supposed to write the check. That thing is not supposed to get processed until your concern is satisfied. So in order to do that, and I don't know what schedule you all are on. Me, I'm on a 3 a.m. till sometime, 8 at night, and sometime I wake up at midnight. I'm on a weird schedule. I don't have to go to work. Well, I don't have a real job, put it that way, but I do have to go sometime. But that's why I'm on a weird schedule. Having said this, 2 things. All emails are public records. They have to be maintained and archived by the town. Will you leave this board whenever Mr. Curry, all his emails that went to Mike Curry, TempletonMass.gov, they're supposed to be archived. That's, somebody wants to see what he wrote, this wrote, it's public record. So, having said that, we have a system, town email accounts. Your name at TempletonMass.gov. You all should get one. You need to get one, so those records can be maintained and your personal stuff is not intermingled, and you don't have to go, let me see, because I want to see your emails for the town, Miss Bessel, as a selectman. They need to be segregated. You also, all new members, we are managers of the town. That office across the way is the select board office. It's the office of selectmen. The people that sit in there work for this board. They're supposed to carry out the policy of this board. You cannot do your duty and sign those warrants if you cannot get in that office, cannot get in this building. I have never been told I can't have a key to a building. I've been on the select board starting in 2011. I was on the advisory committee. I had a key to get into the building because you got to open it up for, you have a public meeting, the chairman, you have to have a key. People want to come to a meeting, it has to be open. You get in big trouble if you're having a public meeting and the door is locked. So as selectmen, you need a key to that door and you need a key to our office. It's the select board's office. It is not someone else's office. It's our office. And in it is the warrants, communications to the select board that comes in there. It may come in a letter, it may come email, it may be an official document, it may be someone that wants to cuss you out, ask you a question, wants to know how come the board does this, doesn't do that, whatever. You have to pick up your packets. So it shouldn't have to come to a vote and a directive of the board. It's our duty. It's our office. We manage this bill. We are responsible. We can delegate authority, but we cannot delegate responsibility. So you all need email accounts and keys to the building. There's 3 sets of keys, should be 3 members left that had keys to the building. I have a set. Mr. Toth has a set. Again, you cannot do your duty without having access to the office. If somebody wants to volunteer to be in this building, whenever you want to come in and do your duty, well, that so be it. But if that doesn't happen, you have to have access to pick up our stuff. And if it takes a vote and a directive, then that's what'll happen. But you've all been sworn in, you've all in a meeting, you all have official duties to do now. I don't want to sound dramatic or anything, but it's playtime is over. We're officials of the town. We're charged with a lot of things, and the residents expect us to do it. And we have to hold ourselves accountable, and we have to hold our employees accountable, because the residents, that's one of their big complaints. We don't hold ourselves accountable, and we don't hold employees accountable, and and then you come and ask us for this, that, and the other thing. That's just, it's the way it's got to be. And it's not really for discussion. Again, it's official duty. You were voted, hired by the people to do a job. You have to have access to this office and to this building. We are responsible. There's a key card system to get into Scout Hall. This board voted to allow that to happen. The board voted. It was up to us if that's the process or not. So that's there's enough said on that. Our last agenda item is an executive session. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A-2. It allows the board to go into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparing for negotiations with non-union personnel, the interim town administrator. I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A at 2, to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, the interim town administrator.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I would, before we move on that was my alarm, that's the warning for the new
Oh,
members.
yes.
We have
Good catch.
a hard stop at 10 PM. So I would entertain a motion, the board, vote to continue to conduct business past 10 PM.
A second it.
motion made, seconded. Any discussion? On the motion, how do you vote, Mr. May?
Yes.
Ms. Basso?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Toth?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Thank you, Mr. Toth.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I move to enter into executive session for MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A-2, discussion regarding contract negotiations, non-union personnel, interim town administrator. As we move in, take the vote to move into this, we will close our business meeting for the sole purpose of coming out of executive session just to dismiss the board from the meeting. There will be no further actions taken by the board in public session. Second.
second by Mr. May. Any discussion? This requires a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. May,
Yes.
Ms. Basso,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Mr. Toth,
Yes.
and I yes. And that was taken at 9:40.